Kuriga school children heading home after horrific kidnapping incident. Unrest and apprehension simmer in Bariki community over killing of military personnel. In search of food, Gombe man treks over 9 kilometers to access free Ramadan meals. And from the international scene, Togo adopts new constitution, moving nation from presidential to parliamentary system. Hello and welcome to Trust News Hour. I am Sumaya Abubakar. And now the details. Governor Obasani of Kaduna State offered free education to the rescued Kuriga students, school children under his foundation. The governor also promised to rebuild the LEA primary and secondary government secondary school in Kuriga, in addition to providing other basic infrastructure in the community. Addressing the children at the State House before their departure to Kuriga on Thursday, Governor Obasani assured them that the kidnapped incident will not in any way affect their education, stating that adequate security has been provided to the Kuriga community to ensure that residents go about their daily lives without fear. He also announced a 10 million naira donation to the family of the head teacher, Abubakar Isa, who died in captivity, as well as offered scholarships to his children up to university level.
I've already taken a decision collectively to support the family of Malan Abubakar with 10 million naira. And, so we believe he has very young children, and those children also, Kaduna State government will take care of them and give them scholarships until they finish secondary school or to university.
The Military High Command on Thursday morning declared 8 persons wanted in connection with the killing of 17 soldiers and officers in Okwama community of Delta State. Among those declared wanted includes Professor Ekpepo Arthur, a woman Igoliebi, Ruben Baru, Akata Malawa David, and 4 other persons. The Director, Defense Media Operations, Edward Buba, who disclosed this at the press briefing at Defense Headquarters in Abuja, said no bounty is placed on the wanted persons. Buba called on the stakeholders and traditional rulers across the country, particularly in the Niger Delta, to help the military in fishing out those who had been declared wanted. Residents of Lugere community have accused operatives of the Operation Safe Haven, maintaining peace in Bariki of burning their houses, vehicles and other properties. This, they said, follows the reported killing of a soldier at a mining site in Shurun community of Rope district in Bariki local government area of Plateau State. The report.
The incident, according to the resident of the community, occurred around midnight when they had already started sleeping. The members of the community allege the soldiers started shooting in the air before setting their houses and other belongings ablaze. They added that many of them fled the community, while others were arrested and bundled into vehicles by soldiers. The community also added that after burning down their houses, the soldiers also killed their cattle.
We were sleeping
when the soldiers arrived the community. They burned down our houses and vehicles for an offense we have not committed. The mining site where the soldier was killed is far away from our communities. There are even 2 communities close to the mining site before ours. We have never experienced this before. Last month, our cattle were killed, and now our houses and properties have been burned down. I was sleeping when I heard soldiers banging my door. When I opened it, they started abusing me and burning our houses. They arrested our relatives, children, and bundled them into vehicles. We don't know our offense. neither do we know where they have been taking our husbands to. The community called on the Chief of Army Staff to, as a matter of urgency, investigate the matter and bring perpetrators to book. Spokesperson of Operation Safe Haven, Major Samson Zakum, when contacted on the development, promised to investigate the matter and report back. Adon Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
The Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang has inaugurated a resettlement committee to ensure that displaced persons return to their homes before the commencement of this year's farming season. Hundreds of people were displaced during various crises that occurred in some communities in Barike-Ladi, Mangu and Bokos local government areas of the state. Governor Mutfwang, while inaugurating the committee, assured that all displaced persons would be returned home before the farming season.
The contribution of Plateau State to the national food basket, it is important that people return to their homes. And that is why you see the committee has a high presence of security agents. We are trusting God that before the rains fall properly, a lot of the people would return to their homes, and by the grace of God, the farmlands we could not cultivate last year, that this year will cultivate them. This is not going to be a mean task, because we know there will be resistance. But by the grace of God, we shall prevail. Let me state this clearly, that none of these committees is intended to witch hunt anyone.
So I have no doubt, Your Excellency, that the members and members of the chairman and members of these committees will do a meticulous job and present to you a very well-balanced report upon which you can really fully rely upon.
The parents of a young boy killed by a stray bullet, allegedly fired by military personnel in the Asian city of Kaduna, recently are demanding for justice. The incident involving 15-year-old Abdul Salam Umar happened last Saturday following a clash between some military personnel and a group of youth in the city. Abdullahi Yamadi tells us more in this report.
Disagreement between the soldiers and a horse rider ignited the clash. Residents alleged that the soldiers went back to their barracks and mobilized their colleagues to the area and started beating people and shooting randomly, leaving many residents with various degrees of injuries. Already, the remains of Abdul Salam Umar has been laid to rest at Old Dantakum Cemetery in Kaduna Metropolis amid sorrow and tears by family and friends of the deceased. Father of the deceased, 75-year-old Umar Lawal, is appealing to the authorities concerned to bring to justice the soldiers that killed his 15-year-old son, Abdul Salam Umar, who is an SS2 student of Kaduna College. Umar Lawal, who was emotionally disturbed following the tragic incident, narrates how he received the news of the event few minutes after Abdul Salam left him at home for an errand. My son, Abdurrahman, came to me with some requests that fateful night, which I gave him some money, and he left. A few minutes after, I was told that he was shot dead. To all those who can support me, kindly tell them to do me a favor. I'm demanding justice for Abdurrahman. Simple. However, the senator representing Kaduna Central Senatorial District, Abdulaziz Yaradua, promised to follow the matter to its logical conclusion.
We came here to condole with the family of a boy of 12 years old that I just learned about yesterday that was killed here by security operatives. Right now we cannot determine the security operatives that came here to shoot indiscriminately, thereby, killing the small boy and injuring another person who is lucky to be alive.
Other family members also vowed to follow up the matter to its logical conclusion because the late Abdul Salam was not by the roadside and also was not among the youth that clashed with the soldiers. This young man was lucky to have escaped death by one of the stray bullets which penetrates his shop, leaving some traces. Some human rights groups, angered by the incident, lamented over the frequency of attacks on civilians by armed uniformed men, especially around Kofarguga area of Kaduna metropolis.
It is part of the soldiers' culture. When they come to the civilian, they just keep a behavior like, I don't know how to call them, but...
Observers say it is advisable for the military to concentrate on the current war against banditry and other crimes, other than engaging unarmed civilians into clashes, leading to frequent loss of lives and property. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Kaduna.
The national body of Nigerian Union of Journalists, alongside the International Press Institute and the Nigerian Guild Editors, is urging President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to investigate the actions of the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, and the Chief of Defense Intelligence, Major General Emmanuel Odiandeye, regarding the unlawful abduction and detention of Segun Olatunji, the editor of First News. Olatunji was abducted from his residence in Lagos on March 15th, and his whereabouts remain unknown for over 10 days, despite efforts of the NUJ, the IPI, the NGE, and other government agencies to secure his release. The report.
13 days after armed men raided the residence of editor of First News, Segun Olatunji, and abducted him, the National Union of Journalists, International Press Institute, and Nigerian Guild of Editors are calling on President Tinubu to sanction both the Chief of Defense Staff and Chief of Defense Intelligence for orchestrating the abduction of the veteran journalist and hiding his whereabouts, alleging intentions to eliminate him. Speaking during a press conference by the media bodies to announce the release of the First News editor, NUJ National President Chris Isiguzo expressed concerns over what he described as those who are scared of the activities of a free press.
I must tell us that it's because of this press conference that is taking place now that really forced the hands of those that held Olatunji to release him. One thing we must understand is the life wire of any democracy is the media. The media remains the oxygen of a working democracy. And if the Constitution in Section 22 has reposed that responsibility of holding those in government to account in the media, I wonder why people are so scared to freely relate with the same media.
The victim also narrated his ordeal while in military detention.
I was called for questioning, and they were asking me about certain stories that First News had carried. They first asked me, one of them first told me that I was one of those abusing the Chief of Defense Intelligence. I said, how? He said, we did a story. I said, it was a general story. Well, they didn't say much on that anyway. Then they also asked me about a story we carried about the chief of staff to the president. Then that was a major thing. That's why I told some people earlier that those behind my arrest are people in the corridors of power who are not happy with what First News is doing.
Meanwhile, President of the International Press Institute, Nigeria, Musikilu Mojid, called on journalists to see Mr. Olatunji's ordeal as a wake-up call on the need for journalists to be their brother's keeper.
We have to be more vigilant going forward. You can see that there are still lots of anti-democratic forces in our country, even though we're a democracy, 24-year-old democracy now, but there are still lots of people who are uncomfortable with the media and the kind of work the media does. So we need to continue to hold each other hand as journalists, and we must be able to stand firm when the right of any one of us is breached in any form.
Segun Olatunji was abducted by armed men, later revealed to be officers of the Defense Intelligence Agency on the 15th of March 2024 over a publication by First News titled "Revealed: Defense Chief Running Office Like Family Business, Public Interest Lawyers." He would later be detained by the DIA, who, according to the NUJ, IPI and NGE, continually denied any knowledge of his abduction for 12 days until they threatened to go public with the information, accusing the DIA of plans to silence the editor. Sagir Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Despite the extensive efforts made by state government in Kaduna, Kano and Jigawa to alleviate the current economic hardship among Nigerians during the Ramadan season, the distributed palliative have largely failed to make a significant impact on the vulnerable population. Many believe the program targeted the urban population, as many more in rural communities remain neglected at a time of need. In this report, Hassan Koli tells the story of a man who travels many kilometers to receive free meals to break his fast and feed his family. Take a look.
Meet Amadou Galadima, a 49-year-old resident of Jerkum. He has called this place home for quite some time now. Every morning, Amadou faces a harsh reality of having nothing to provide for his family's breakfast. With 13 mouths to feed, the pressure weighs heavily on him. Desperate to ensure his loved ones have something to break their fast with during Ramadan, he embarks on a daily journey of 9.5 kilometers from Jerkum to Dukku, the headquarters of Dukku local government area in Gombe State, just to collect food for iftar. It is a struggle he faces each day, driven by love and determination to care for his family. I was once a farmer and a businessman, but as time went on, I lost everything, leaving me to rely on donors to feed my 12 family members. In this holy month of Ramadan, I have to go to Dukku to get food for iftar. I usually ask a favor from tanker drivers to give me a lift, and sometimes I cannot even get one to help me get to Dukku. With all this, it is hardly possible for us to get any palliatives from the government. As you can see, all I am getting is from non-governmental organizations. Galadima wishes to have a means of livelihood and help for others too. I wish I could get something to depend upon, and which will help me take care of my family. Should I get a helping hand, I could do many things like businesses or farming as I used to. I am really not enjoying the current condition, and I want to be helping people too. One of the non-governmental organizations engaged in such programs expressed the urgent need to include many more individuals in the Ramadan feeding program in Dukku local government area. They emphasized that there is a significant number of people are in desperate need of assistance during this time.
So now we usually have like 350, 380 iftar meals. Some people usually come, some even since morning, and you know we distribute the food in the evening around 5, sometimes even 5:30. But you may notice that around 10 o'clock, some people are waiting at home, waiting for the food to be prepared and be given to them. So as such, the suffering people are going through, especially during this time in this country, you find out that as we prepare the food, the number of people waiting for the food are even more than the number of the food that we are able to bring out.
The current situations appears to suggest that the recent feeding program and palliatives initiated by the state governments have had little to no effect on alleviating the hardship faced by Nigerians. A report from Global Partners and the Nigerian government indicate that a staggering 26.5 million Nigerians are projected to experience food insecurity this year, highlighting the severe state of poverty and hunger in the country. Hassan Koli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Residents of Osun State have called on federal government to take measures to address economic hardship as they lament the high cost of living. They also appealed to the state governor Ademola Adeleke to ensure that palliatives meant to cushion the effect of the economic hardship reach the people. Hamid Oyegbade reports.
The removal of the fuel subsidy by President Bola Tinubu last year is still causing severe economic hardship. The federal government's allocations to the state governors are said to have increased significantly, yet citizens wallow in abject poverty. As a result, residents of Osun State want both federal and state government to do more to cushion the effect of the economic hardship.
The government too, they should be able to give little out of what the federal government gave them to reach out to the masses.
Workers are really enjoying their promotion as and when due, and same is being cash backed. The recent one that was the recent promotion exercise that was conducted will be cash back. It depends on
the government paid half salary and is paying us every month, because those of us that have not taken a bond certificate, but those that have taken, they are taking it quarterly. The health insurance is growing. Even today, our members will receive their card so that they can be treated free of charge in the hospital.
The state governor, Ademola Adeleke, said that bags of rice sent to Osun State by the federal government are not very good for human consumption.
We're going to start distributing food, rice, gari, and all that. Not this rice. So every time the other people they distribute rice, they go and distribute rice that has spoiled, that can kill people. We distribute rice that is very clean, that is not expired rice. So we're going to be doing it. And of course, they have salary, they owe. We started paying it. The pensioner, they are receiving treatment. They are getting paid.
Meanwhile, despite the efforts of both federal and state government, prices of commodities are still high, and Nigerians want President Tinubu to fix the economy. Hamid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
The federal government will, on April 4th, arraign Binance Holdings Limited and its two top officials, Tigran Gambarian and also the fleeing Nadeem Anjarwalla, on allegations bordering on tax evasion. The Binance Gambarian and Anjarwalla, listed as first and third defendants respectively, are expected to be arraigned before Justice Emeka Nwite of a federal high court, Abuja, on a 4-count charge. Anjarwalla, who had been in detention alongside Gambarian, was said to have escaped from lawful custody. He escaped on Friday from Abuja guest house where he and his colleague were detained. Though the Federal High Court's Easter vacation began on March 22nd and will come to an end on April 8th, the Chief Judge, Justice John Soho, directed the transfer of the Binance case filed by Justice Nwite. Although Justice Nwite is not a vacation judge, the Chief Judge granted the fiat for the judge to handle the case during vacation, being a matter that concerns dire national interest. Hearing notices had been related to the Federal Inland Revenue Services, the FIRS, the prosecuting agency, and counsel to other parties for the defendants to take their plea. Meanwhile, detained Binance executive Tigran Gambarian has accused the National Security Advisor, the NSA, Nuhu Ribadu, and the Economic Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, of violating his fundamental human rights. In an originating motion, Gambarian sought a declaration that his detention and seizure of his travel document contravened Section 35, subsection 1 and 4 of 1999 Constitution as amended. He urged the court to order the NSA and EFCC to release him from their custody and return his passport with immediate effect. Gambarian equally sought an order of perpetual injunction restraining the respondent and agent from further detaining him in relation to any investigation into or demands from Binance. He urged the court to order for the respondent to issue a public apology to him. At Thursday's proceedings, the counsel to the plaintiff, T.J. Krukubo, informed the court that the respondents were served 2 days ago. The trial judge, Justice Inyang Ekut, adjourned the matter till April 8. You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up, as part of events marking this year's Tuberculosis Day, stakeholders shine a light on decaying healthcare systems. This and more after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. If you are just joining us, this is Trust News Hour. Here is a recap of our top stories. We brought you Kuriga school children heading home after horrific kidnapping incident. And unrest and apprehension simmer in Barike-Ladi community over killing of military personnel. Moving on to political matters, the senator representing Bauchi Central in the Senate, Abdul Nengi, has written to the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, demanding that the suspension placed on him be lifted. Nengi, who wrote Akpabio through his lawyer, Femi Falana-San, noted that if his suspension was not lifted in the next 7 days, he will drag the Senate before the Federal High Court. The Senate on March 12 sent Nengi on 3-month suspension over his claim that the 2024 budget was padded to the tune of 3.7 trillion naira. Nengi, in a media interview, claimed that while the budget passed by the National Assembly for the 2024 fiscal year was 25 trillion naira, the one being executed by the presidency was 28.7 trillion naira. The Independent National Electoral Commission, the INEC, has disowned Wednesday's Labour Party's National Convention in Anambra State. The Chief Press Secretary to INEC Chairman, Rotimi Oyekami, stated this while speaking with journalists in Abuja on Thursday. Oyekami stressed that the conduct of the convention was not monitored by INEC. INEC added that Labour Party failed to comply with Section 82, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022, which states that political parties shall give INEC at least 21 days notice of convention, congress, conference, or meeting. Meanwhile, the crisis rocking the Labour Party took a new twist on Thursday with the Board of Trustees taking charge of the party's affairs. According to a statement on Wednesday, the chairman of LP's BOT, the SOZ, Ejiofor, said the decision was taken to prevent a leadership vacuum in the party. This comes shortly after the LP held its national convention in Anambra State that saw Julius Abure re-elected as chairman of the party. He cited a March 20th, 2018 Federal High Court judgment where Justice Gabriel Kolawole recognized the Nigerian Labour Congress, the NLC, as the owner of the Labour Party and mandated that an all-inclusive and expansive national convention of the Labour Party be held. Moving on, the 6 members of the Labour Party in the Enugu State House of Assembly have officially defected to the People's Democratic Party, the PDP. They made their defection known on Thursday in Enugu in a letter read by the Speaker, Uche Ugu, during plenary at the Assembly Legislative Complex. According to the defectors, the move resulted from the existence of irreconcilable decision and division as an ongoing crisis within the Labour Party at the national level and across all the state's chapters. They allege that the party has evolved into a state of perpetual discord with various factions embroiled in legal battles, thereby undermining its ability to effectively serve the interests of the people. The defectors expressed their optimism that their new party, the PDP, will give them the platform to serve their people committedly. Hoodlums have attacked and razed the Neni Divisional Police Station in Anocha local government area of Anambra State. Reports say the attackers, numbering about 30, stormed the area at about 2 o'clock in the morning of Thursday, wreaking havoc on several buildings. The State Police Public Relations Officer, SP Tochukwu Ikenga, said hoodlums attacked the police station with improvised explosive devices. He, however, stated that the hoodlums did not take away any arms or kidnap any police personnel. The police image maker further disclosed that the hoodlums were forced to flee after the police operatives subdued them in a superior firepower, adding that tactical operations are still ongoing in the area. The Rivers State Police Command has paraded a herbalist and 25 other suspects arrested for a series of car theft and other criminal activities across the state. The Commissioner of Police in the state, Olatunji Disu, who stated this while parading the suspects, said the operation revealed that the detailed working of the criminal network responsible for the theft of more than 79 cars stolen from the state. The report.
The commissioner said the arrest of 2 key gang leaders along with their accomplices marks a significant victory for law enforcement in Rivers State. He said the suspect confessed that most of the stolen cars are taken to Anambra and Kano states for sale.
Today, I'm very happy to inform you that about 26 suspects specialized in stealing vehicles and robbing them have been arrested. Our greatest joy is the arrest of Shidoge, Anthony Oyekwe, and Kelechi Uzogwe.
Some of the suspects that spoke with journalists confessed to the crime.
I'm aware the cars are stolen.
I'm a herbalist. There's one boy they call Justice. I don't know him before. He came and met me on January when I'm treating other people, herbalist, wound, and stroke. That's my specialty work. I specialize on it.
The police boss advised car owners on the use of modern theft devices in car security and cautioned them to be more security conscious.
Our advice to members of the society, the residents, is to be wary of where they park their cars. And as much as possible, let them try to protect their cars. Put safety devices in your vehicles, which will make it easier for us as police officers to assist in detecting your vehicles immediately.
CP Disu commended the dedication and diligence of the police officers involved in the operation, emphasizing the importance of community cooperation in combating organized crime. He noted that the successful dismantling of the car theft syndicate reflects the commitment of the Rivers State Police Command to ensuring the safety and security of residents.
In the same vein, the Gombe State Police Command has paraded 7 suspected cattle rustlers in the state. The suspects, who were arrested at different locations in Pindiga and Gombe, were notorious in the Pindiga axis of the Ako local government area of Gombe State. Hassan Koli reports.
This is a group of 7 suspects who were on Thursday paraded at the Pindiga division of the Nigerian police force in Ako local government area of Gombe State. Parading the suspects, Gombe State Assistant Public Relations Officer ASP Sharif Saad said the suspects voluntarily confessed to rustling cows.
That on the 20th of January 2024 at about 22:30 hours, that's 10:30 in the night, a formal complaint was received at Pindiga Divisional Police Headquarters, Akko local government, from one Ya'u Hassan that some unknown persons stole his cows. A full-blown investigation was launched where it was revealed that the said Adam Hussaini and his associate who mastermind in cattle rustling along the axis were said to have carried out the act. Later on the 23rd of March 2023, the officers and men of the Kuriga division succeeded in arresting the 4 suspects by baiting them with some stolen cattle. The suspects have voluntarily confessed to the charges while the case is still under investigation. A Toyota Sienna bus was recovered as exhibit.
The prime suspect said they used informants from the community to plan cattle rustling and hand them over to potential buyers in Gombe. I was the one who masterminded the rustling of these 3 cattle. I connived with one buyer of Garinwali. We raided the house where the cattle were kept, carted them away, and handed them over the one Gwaska in Gombe. We were later apprehended by police. The receiver usually gives us 100,000 naira for a cow worth 1 million naira in the market. I deeply regret my action, and I am asking for forgiveness. The police command, while promising to intensify effort to combat crime and sustain peace, is also calling for general public support to it succeed. Hassan Kohli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
In matters, during a medical outreach event commemorating the World Tuberculosis Day at the General Hospital Bayara, Hussein Abubakar Uthman, the district head of Miri, a suburb of Bauchi, appealed to the state government for the rehabilitation of the hospital. The traditional leader emphasized the need for effective service delivery, particularly for patients battling diseases such as leprosy, tuberculosis, malaria, and HIV/AIDS. The event brought together various stakeholders to address these pressing healthcare needs. Adamu Imam reports.
The medical outreach was part of effort by the Agency for the Control of Tuberculosis and other related infectious diseases in conjunction with Breakthrough Action Nigeria in the state. The district head of Miri, Hussein Abubakar Uthman, called on the state government to rehabilitate the hospital for the benefit of patients and the community as a whole.
Do more in the hospital, and also the Honorable Commissioner, Minister of Health, you may wish to look around the hospital and take an inventory for some dilapidated structures which we hope you will visit in their time. We thank you and we pray.
Some of the beneficiaries spoke on their health status and how they are coping with the current economic realities, while the medical team urged them to take advantage of the commemoration day to access free health services. I came here all the way from Toro local government area since yesterday to get free diagnosis and treatment for me and my child, who is down with malaria and TB. With the diagnosis, I will know my health status.
I couldn't buy the medications that were prescribed for me because I have no money. I usually wait for our son to get his salary before buying them. When I heard about this medical outreach, I quickly rushed to come and know about my health status through free diagnosis.
It will take a lot of money for you to get these services, but now it's for free, and it is important, even though when we are not, if these days ended today, you cannot get access to this test. It is important to know your status at this time.
Meanwhile, the Bakatma boss Sani Muhammad Dambam, in his remark during the outreach, warned people against taking unprocessed cow milk, saying many cases of ill health have been reported from the practice. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
In business, the Central Bank of Nigeria, the CBN, has unveiled new minimum capital requirements for banks, pegging the minimum capital base for commercial banks with international authorization at 500 billion naira. A circular signed by the Director of Financial Policy and Regulation Department, Haruna Mustafa, to all commercial, merchant and non-interest banks and promoters of proposed banks emphasize that all banks are required to meet the minimum capital requirements within 24 months, commencing from April 1st, 2024 and terminating on March 31st, 2026. The CBN spokesman, Hakama Sidi Ali, confirmed the development in Abuja on Thursday. Now let's move on to Yusuf Akogu to give us more business news. Take a
Welcome to Business News. I am Yusuf Akogu. The coming on stream of $20 billion Dangote oil refinery is expected to diminish decade-long gasoline shipment from Europe to Africa worth $17 billion annually. Traders and analysts say the operation of the refinery will put pressure on European refineries already at risk of closure from heightened competition. A European refinery executive said coastal refineries that are geared for export will be more exposed, while inland refineries are less vulnerable because they rely on local demand. About one-third of European 1.33 million barrels per day average gasoline export in 2023 went to West Africa, with the majority of those exports ending up in Nigeria. Dangote refinery can refine up to 650,000 barrels per day and will be the largest in Africa and Europe. The National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) on Thursday stated that Lagos State recorded 1.05 trillion naira domestic debt in the fourth quarter to emerge the state with the highest public debt portfolio. NBS document tagged Commodity Price Index and Terms of Trade Q4 2023 added that Lagos was followed by Delta State with a debt portfolio of 373.41 billion naira. According to the report, Jigawa recorded the lowest domestic debt with 42.76 billion naira, followed by Kebbi State with 60.69 billion naira. On external debt, NBS noted that Lagos has the highest external debt in the Q4 of 2023 with $1.24 billion, followed by Kaduna State with 587.07 million naira, while Borno State recorded the lowest with $20.49 million. The Central Bank of Nigeria on Wednesday successfully conducted an auction of Nigerian Treasury bills. The auction result shows that a substantial amount of 1.64 trillion naira were being sold. The highest top rates offered have attracted considerable investors' interest, reflecting confidence in the nation's economic instruments. During this latest auction, 3 categories of NTBS were offered, with varying tenures of 91 days, 182 days, and 364 days. Now to the stock markets. Equities markets closed positive on sustained investor interest in medium cap equities. Let's see how it went down today. Top gaining equities today, Morrison leading the table there with 10% to close at 1 naira and 76 kobo per share. Ikeja Hotel 9.91% it gained, 6 naira and 43 kobo per shares it ended. And indeed Julius Berger Nigerian PLC 9.73% to close at 66 naira per shares. And of course this has moved the market up by 0.27%. Looking at the volume of trade, 595.731 million shares, value at 16.380 billion naira in a days of 10,032 lead exchange hands among investors today. Of course, we see some Taiwan Bank dominating the activities table there. Leading there is Zenith Bank of Nigeria PLC, 81.267 million of its shares were traded. JITCO, 78.565 million shares, and of course, Access Corporation, 54.05 million shares it traded also on the day. Of course, we have some equities that ended up on the losing table. Leading that table is ABC Trans. ABC Trans down 9.41% to close at 77 kobo per shares. Guineans also on the negative side of the market, 7.89%, 35 kobo per share it ended. Of course, Lasaco down 7.41% to close at 2 naira per shares at the close of business this Thursday, the last trading day for the week, because of course the Easter holiday which begins tomorrow. Now let's see the global stock market for today. to the FX market, Naira pushes to post-devaluation high as monetary policy rate hikes get traction. Let's see today's market data. Oil prices firmed on Thursday following 2 consecutive sessions of decline as investors saw a tighter supply outlook ahead, while the OPEC Plus producer alliance was widely expected to stay the course on its current production cuts. At the London market, European barrel sell for $87 per barrel. For the OPEC basket, price drops to $84 per barrel. And that's business. I am Yusuf Akogu.
Thank you, Yusuf, for the business update. Now, moving on from the international scene, lawmakers in Togo have adopted a new constitution introduced by members of the ruling party, which transitions the West African nation from a presidential to a parliamentary system. The country's opposition, which boycotted the last legislative elections in 2018 and recently denounced irregularities in the electoral census, is poorly represented in the National Assembly. One of the main changes brought by the new constitution is that lawmakers will elect the president of the republic for a single 6-year term. It adds that the president of the Council of Ministers will rule for a 6-year term, while the MPs will be elected by direct universal suffrage, the secret for a renewable term of 6 years. The new constitution was partly passed by lawmakers whose mandate was set to expire late last year. It is unclear when the changes will come into force, as the next parliamentary election will be held on April 20th, concurrently with regional elections. And finally, in sport, as accolades continue to pour on Team Nigeria's outing at the African Games, a call to invest more in sport has been made. Trust TV's sports correspondent Adeni Ajishafe has the details.
Following recent performance of Team Nigerian boxers at the 13 African Games in Ghana, boxing promoter Wasiu Alabi has called on the Ministry of Sport Development and stakeholders to give attention to boxing development in Nigeria. Alabi noted that lots of boxing talent abound across Nigeria as the pugilists have continued to pull the green-white-green flag on the world map at tournaments. While receiving the boxers from the games, the boxing enthusiast said it was a Nigerian affair in the boxing event as Nigerian boxers won 8 gold and 2 silver medals, winning 8 of the 10 finals.
I'm appealing to the Minister of Sports and even our Excellency, our father, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, so to invest more in boxing. So if this coming Olympic, if they want more medal at the Olympic, they should invest more in boxing. Look at what just happened at this conclude games. 10 medal, it's not easy. So they should invest more. So the plan is for the boxer to go to the Olympic. That's their plan, that's their ambition. Now, they don't have anything now that dreaming about, that thinking about. This is the best form of their life. They need that Olympic. So I pray that authorities should come to their aid and take them to this last qualifier.
Celebrating the medal-winning team, Coach Adra Olaleyin pointed out that proper planning and right selection added to the success.
We work together as a team, and you select the right people. You know, when you pick the right people, you go to achieve something. So we select the right people, we come together, we pick the best. You see the one that lost, it lost by robbery, and all the world can say. And I believe they apologize for it. But the decision already made. So we can't do anything about it. But I can tell you, this is a beautiful thing for Nigerian boxing, and it's a big thing for Nigerian boxing.
The boxers also expressed joy for being able to do well at the games.
First of all, I want to thank myself for making myself do what I think I cannot do. I'm proud of myself, I'm proud of my manager, I'm proud of my coach, my friends, my mom, my dad, that supports me and that motivates me a lot, and I'm very proud of myself. And I know my next competition will be more better than this.
my next performance, I'll be my next outing, more greater than this. So I have nothing much to say than to give glory to God. God has been so good to me. At my younger age, I know what I have achieved from this boxing.
11 Nigerian boxers competed in Ghana, with 10 reaching the final and 8 winning gold, while 2 picked silver, to add to Team Nigeria's medal haul to maintain second place with 47 gold, 35 silver and 43 bronze medals, behind Egypt, while South Africa occupied third position. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
And with that, we wrap up News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news programs and documentaries. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thanks for watching.